Welcome to Glow Social Club, the space where powerhouse women come to reclaim their health, their clarity, and their leadership. I'm Jasmine Corona, functional nutritional practitioner and founder of Organically Glow and Glow Social Club. Around here, we don't do one-size-fits-all advice. We translate symptoms into strategy and build the kind of structure that actually sustains you. If you are ready to lead your health, your work, and your life with clarity, confidence, and conviction, you are in the right place. Let's begin.
Welcome, everybody, to the Wildly Thriving podcast. Today, I have a beautiful guest. Her name is Jasmine Corona. She is the founder of Organically Glow and Glow Social Club, where she helps high-achieving women heal their gut, hormones, and immune system, as well as mentors practitioners inside the Leadership Lab. She's been featured in Brains Magazine, Medium, and Acquisition International. She's a certified nutritional therapy practitioner who turns symptoms into strategy using her signature root cause methodology. Welcome, Jasmine.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Me too, me too. We were talking briefly before we got on the call. We align in so many different ways just with our approach and also, targeting that population of people that are unseen, right? All of these hardworking women that are struggling with these autoimmune conditions, very similar to yourself, which I would love to hear your story here soon. But those populations of people, they get dismissed, with all of these symptoms that they have, or maybe even just losing like stubborn weight, and just helping them learn about their lifestyle and how that is actually impacting their physiology. So I would love to hear more about your personal experience and what exactly led you into becoming a nutritional therapy practitioner.
Yeah, so honestly, this is a very long story, but I'm going to cut it short. So I was actually diagnosed with multiple autoimmune conditions at a very young age. I was still in high school. And really, what changed my whole perspective on this whole healing journey was I was able to reverse all of these autoimmune conditions that I was told there's no cure, there's no way that you can ever, get off these medications because this is going to be the rest of your life. And it really made me shift into, like there has to be a better way. So I started really digging into nutrition, started getting into like lifestyle changes, and then I came across functional medicine, root cause medicine, and really that changed my life because I was actually able to understand what my symptoms, what the autoimmune conditions were trying to communicate to me. And I was able to actually find the real root cause. And once I started addressing the real root cause, which was like environmental toxins, hidden infections, chronic stress on my body, just a depleted system, I completely put everything into remission. And it's funny because I do remember when, I was constantly going to the doctors over and over again, seeing all these specialists, and they just kept telling me the same thing, like, hey, like, yeah, you have a lot of symptoms right now, but like, this is going to be your normal for the rest of your life. Like, all you can do is really just take this pill. And I was on literally probably 5 different prescription medications, and I was still kind of stuck in this cycle where I would feel better for a short period of time, and then next thing you know, I'm back in the hospital. And then they just kept telling me like, hey, like this is what it is. Like there's really not much more we can do. And so the last time I was in the hospital was like back in 2017, and I was literally in my early 20s, probably 2021, and I was about to go into my senior year of college, and I basically was like internally bleeding. And so I was just laying in that hospital bed like, I have done every single thing these doctors told me. I have taken their prescription medications. I have visited them every 3 to 6 months to get new blood work, only to be told that everything looked normal. How am I still in this same place? Like I need to find something else. Like obviously the medical system is not helping me. Like I just kept on really thinking in my head, like if I keep going down this path, like what's really going to happen? Like what does your next 10 years look like? You probably don't even have 10 years left, honestly. And so that's when I really dove deep into, okay, let's start searching for alternatives. Let's look into holistic medicine, alternative therapies, modalities. I just wanted to try anything and everything because I was just so sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, honestly. And so I came across this whole functional medicine nutrition piece, and again, within 3 to 6 months, my skin cleared up. My energy was at an all-time high. I was off my medications. I felt so good in my body, and I didn't think that was possible. And so really I was just sitting there and I was like, why don't we know about this? Like, why aren't we told that nutrition plays such a big role in our health? Why aren't we told about functional medicine and alternative modalities and all these different therapies that we have access to? But we just don't know. Like, it's unknown because the medical system is a business. It's a business model. I hate to say it,
Hmm.
but it is.
I
And
say for profit.
yeah, it is. Yeah. So I actually had this idea where I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to finish my 4 year degree and I'm going to become a nurse practitioner, and I'm going to combine the best of holistic medicine with the conventional side of medicine. And so I ended up going into my nursing program, and I was in the process of getting my master's. And again, I just fell into this whole, I don't know, like identity crisis where I was like, Jasmine, what are you doing? Like, you are literally stuck in a system that does not want to change. Like, it doesn't want to change. It's a business model. Like, you need to leave, you need to pivot, and that's where the functional nutritional practitioner came in. I was like, cool, I can do this. I can open up my own practice. I can actually bring all these healing modalities to women who actually are searching for these types of services. So that is literally how I started Organically Glow and the purpose behind Organically Glow, really just helping people heal their bodies.
Yeah, and that's such a unfortunate thing that the majority of people don't have access or don't know how to get the information to care for themselves because they believe that, oh, this person is a highly intelligent person. They're a doctor. They went to school for 8, 10, 11, 12 years, so they must know what they're doing, but they don't understand that the majority of their education is memorization. It's not critical thinking. It's not how do we heal this person, it's how do we save their life and remove their symptoms that they're complaining about. So the solution that is provided in the conventional space is not adequate if you are seeking to have a high quality of life. And that's just it. And we have to understand the history behind our medical system and how that came to be and who developed that system. It's a process where they have a person come in, they have all of these symptoms, they group them together, and if they fit a certain criteria, okay, we're going to run these labs. But these labs are not actually showing the dysfunction behind why they are presenting the symptoms. They are merely just trying to see, is this person in a disease state or very close to or not? And that's why you'll go to a doctor and get all of these labs done, and they'll say, oh, labs are fine, even though you feel horrific. It's because the system is designed to put you into a process where either the insurance will cover it or you will receive a medication, and that's it. They are not there to heal you. And that's what we are here to talk about on podcasts like this. And this is what healers like you and I are speaking out on, is that, hey, you don't have to live this way. There's a different way, and we both have experienced it, if I could speak right. We've both experienced and gone through the trenches with our own health. So I want to know a little bit more about your autoimmune condition. You said that you had several, and I kind of just want to know about that process. Like, how many years were you struggling with that until you finally realized, okay, maybe this isn't the right way for me?
Yeah, so I was honestly in the process of being diagnosed maybe for 5 years before even getting a diagnosis, right? Which I
Mm.
always say is just a label. But honestly, I was probably 15 years old when I first got my diagnosis, and I was struggling until 20 years old. So it was a long time. And again, same thing over and over. They just kept wanting to push more medication, more medications. And they just kept saying, like, oh, you're so young to be like this. But like we don't really know what else to do for you. Like this is just it. And that whole process was just so eye-opening to how broken the system is. And it's so easy, especially like I look back now and I can say this, but I was so frustrated with my doctors and I was angry at them because I was like, you like what is going on? Like just give me something, help me heal my body. And now that I look back, I'm like, it's not even the doctor's fault. Like it's literally a system issue because
Hmm.
that's just what we're taught, especially when I was in my nursing program. Whoo, that really opened my eyes. Like, and I remember even my professor saying, like, we're not here to help these people feel so good in their bodies. We are here to make sure they walk out of the hospital alive. And that was just like, what? Like, this is
Flabbergasted.
insane. Yeah. I didn't even know, like, what. And I was like, wow, like, it just kept on, like, all these experiences just kept on adding on top of one another to the point where I was like, there needs to be a better way. There needs to be a new system because for people, especially women, because we're constantly dismissed, the medical system really doesn't have much research on us because we're too complex because of all our hormones. So it's really hard to do medical research on us. So I was like, okay, like it's time to provide this type of service. It's time to really step up and be the change, even if it means walking away from the medical system. Because again, like that's their job is again what my professor said. We're here to make sure people survive. That's it. Period.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's some people in my life that, they're beautiful souls, empathetic souls that really genuinely want to help people. And they're like, I just, enrolled into my nursing program and I cringe so hard because they're going to get burnt out. They're going to feel so drained and they're not really going to be helping anybody.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of times they're going to be poisoning people,
Yeah.
and it's very unfortunate because we're so deluded into thinking, oh, nursing is like such a honest, career path to go into, is stable or whatever, but it's really
Mhm.
not stable. Look what happened in
Yeah.
2020. Look what they did to the nurses. You
Yep.
know, it's disgusting what they did to, the American people and honestly everybody in the world that was in,
Mm-hmm.
the healthcare space is
Yeah.
very not good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll leave it at that. But
Yeah.
so what autoimmune condition did you have or what autoimmune conditions did you
Yeah.
have?
Yeah, so it started off with, I mean, obviously they're like fibromyalgia, so just full body pain, and then it ended up being juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, so rheumatoid arthritis, but since you're a child, you're under 18, it's called juvenile. And then it was lupus, but then it wasn't lupus, so it was Sjogren's, which is like a branch under lupus, that eventually they said that can develop into lupus. I had honestly like idiopathic thrombocytopenia, which is basically your internal bleeding, clotting
Mhm.
issues. So there was just, it just kept on piling on. Every time I went to the doctors, new diagnosis. And I was just like, this means nothing to me. Like it was the same treatment option. Same treatment option, suppress your immune system, get on steroids and ibuprofen for pain management and Norcos. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. And
Yeah.
I was
Instead
like,
of
I'm 15.
yeah, like why are we suppressing the
Yeah.
immune system? Why aren't
Yeah.
we supporting the immune system? And that leads me a question too. Like, so the lab testing that they were running standard blood serum, right? Did you go to like did you have any digestive issues or anything like that?
Yeah, so I ended up going to a GI specialist, and yeah, they just honestly, the only thing that they were running was just blood work, very basic standard blood work. Again, when I was being in the process of diagnosed with an autoimmune conditions, they would run like an autoimmune panel, which was just like an ANA, inflammatory markers, and everything was pretty much like they said, quote unquote, everything's normal until one day some things were abnormal, and they're like, yeah, you do actually fit this box here. So this is how we're going to treat it, right? That's what I always tell my clients too. I'm like, yes, you got a diagnosis. Maybe it feels like you have some type of relief right now because you're finally like heard. You're not crazy, right? It's not all in your head. But really, a diagnosis is not for you. It's for the doctors so they know how to treat you. Like that's it. It's a label,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, it's insane. Like we were talking about earlier, it's a system problem because
Yeah.
people don't spend 12 years in schooling because they hate
Mm-hmm.
people and they want to see them, feel worse. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They genuinely want to help
Exactly.
people, but you go through 12 years of essentially brainwashing and
Yep.
memorization. Like that's just your brain wiring at that point.
Yeah.
You don't really think to heal anybody. And those
Mm-hmm.
that do have the critical thinking skills, they end up leaving. They end up like getting rid of their medical license
Yep.
or they get it taken away because they're not giving the vaccine vaccines. They're not giving
Yep.
the meeting the quota for the
Mm-hmm.
medications. Like this has happened. Like there's doctors that leave the country because
Yeah.
of the microscope that they get put under because they are trying to actually help their patients, not put them on a bunch of drugs.
Let me guess, you became a practitioner to help people heal, but somewhere between the passion and the protocols, your business stopped feeling like something that could hold you. If that's you, the Leadership Lab inside Glow Social Club was built with you in mind. This is not just a course, it's a strategic mentorship container where your root cause wisdom meets the structure your business has been craving. Whether you're ready to learn the method, our Glow Beyond protocol, live the method with systems and mentorship, or lead the method through high-level refinement, there's a level that meets your depth and matches your season. If you're tired of winging it and ready to lead your method, your message, and your model with clarity and conviction, the Leadership Lab is your next step. DM me leader on Instagram or visit organicallyglow.com/glow social club to join us.
Yeah, I would love to hear a story, maybe like a case study of a client that you worked with that had like an autoimmune condition. Like, what was your process? How did you help them? Like, what was like the worst case that you had?
So actually, we just recently ended working together because she is back in optimal range, feeling so good in her body. And so she came to me and she actually had a history of Hashimoto's. So she was on thyroid medication. So autoimmune thyroid, basically, her body was attacking her thyroid, which that's a whole other topic, but we'll talk about that later. But basically, she came to me. She is a director of marketing, like she's very high up, or sorry, director of human resources. So she has lots of stress in her body. She's a go-getter. She just wants to feel really good in her body. So she came to me and she was like, I am so exhausted. I can't keep up with what I'm doing in my job, in my home, like nourishing my relationships. On top of that, like she could not lose weight for the life of her, and she was doing everything right. She was eating clean, so all organic. She was really focused on her nutrition. She was exercising every single day. She was taking her supplements. She worked with a naturopathic doctor, and she was like, I just don't understand. Like, I have tried everything and I still cannot lose a single pound. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's jump right into this. So what we always start with is functional lab testing. So we start with our root cause analysis, which combines functional blood chemistry. So I run a complete root cause panel, which is our custom blood work panel, and that really gives so much information on everything in the body. We're not just looking at one specific area in the body, like your gut health or your inflammatory markers. We're looking at everything. And then next, we also have them run a signal scan. So she took a signal scan, which is just a symptom assessment, really pinpointing root causes. So it's going to identify like parasites, bacterial overgrowths, fungal overgrowths, viruses, immune system dysfunction. And then we also run a nutritional assessment, which goes over her nutrition, her diet, her lifestyle. And so once we start with that root cause analysis, that is your data. That is going to tell me exactly what your body is trying to communicate to me. What is your symptoms trying to say? Because again, symptoms are just signals. And so we are here to help really decode those signals and just provide your body with what it's asking for. So we were able to pinpoint her root causes, which had a lot to do with a fungal overgrowth. We are also dealing with heavy metals, and then also mold. So those are like her top 3 root causes. And then on the other side, we like to look at dysfunction too. Like, okay, now that we know the root causes, how are these root causes impacting your organ systems? So again, very high functioning. She was always on the go, go, go. So we were able to really see that there's a lot of dysfunction in her adrenals. So she was just running on stress hormones. She was also dealing with some blood sugar issues. So she was insulin resistant. She had insulin levels 8.8, which is really high. I like to see it under 5.3. So 8.8 is like your body is completely inflamed right now. Your blood sugar is going everywhere. So we're seeing insulin resistance. We're also just seeing lots of liver stress too. So that's a huge one, especially when it comes to these toxins. what happens is these toxins love to overburden the liver. So your liver is really responsible for all detoxification in the body. And so when we're exposed to pollution, we're exposed to chemicals and toxins in our water. So eventually your body just is like, okay, like I'm already dealing with this pollution. I'm dealing with all these other toxins that we're being exposed to. How do you expect me to also deal with the mold and the fungal overgrowths and the mycotoxins that are coming from those two, and even like just so much stress on the body, honestly. So what we walked her through after we identified the root cause with our root cause analysis, we really looked at her nutrition. So then we provided her some insight on how to balance blood sugar through the foods she was eating. And so what we did and what she was actually open to was doing a carnivore diet, kind of. So it was more like animal based, so really focusing on whole foods, because again, she was eating clean, she was eating organic, but her body just needed a reset. So what we did was we actually did a carnivore reset, and that has changed her life. It really did. Her thyroid antibodies too, just going back to the blood work, were extremely high. They were like in the 170s when she came to me. After about 6 months of working together, so that's about 3 to 4 different protocols, her thyroid antibodies were under 10. So they were back in optimal range. So that is quote unquote, if she went to the doctors and they saw her thyroid antibodies underneath 10, they'd be like, oh yeah, you're fine. Your thyroid's great. It's amazing. Like you're great. You know what I mean? So that is a huge thing that we can really educate patients on, especially when it comes to Hashimoto's and autoimmune thyroid, is that your thyroid antibodies, you can change them. You can shift them back into optimal range. And it's so interesting because I know every single doctor that my clients go to beforehand, they will tell them like, oh, we're not going to rerun thyroid antibodies because they don't change. That's there forever. And so it's just so funny. And I'm like, that's a huge shift. But anyway, so she carnivore diet, targeted supplementation. So we did some herbs, we did some nutraceuticals, and then we also did homeopathics. And yeah, within 6 months, thyroid antibodies back in optimal range, insulin levels back in optimal range, no signs of blood sugar issues. She has now dropped 20 pounds. She has more energy than she knows what to do with. She also just is a completely different person, just in her energy, her body language. She's just so happy. Like, and that's what's possible when you do this type of work, when you actually address the root cause and you know how to support your body and you know what your body is trying to communicate to you, but how you're able to actually give it with what it needs and what it requires to heal.
Yeah, as you noticed, you said nothing about using Ozempic or B12 shots to get that last
Yeah.
20 pounds off. You addressed what is causing my body or her body
Mhm.
to like hold on to this weight. We're not Ozempic deficient, we're
Yeah.
not medication deficient. And any issue that is going on with the thyroid, that is a downstream effect. There is
Yep.
another dysfunction upstream that is
Hmm.
causing the thyroid to react in such way. Unless you had like an accident where there's actual physical damage to
Yeah.
that thyroid gland, it's fixable outside of
Hmm.
medication,
Yeah.
So that's an incredible story. Was there a specific process that you use with her or with all of your clients? Like you're like, okay, this is step one. Everybody has to do it this way. And then step two, and then maybe it becomes a little bit more tailored later on. Can you
Yeah.
just explain your process a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So we have something called the Globion Protocol, which is our root cause methodology. So the Globion Protocol is basically a framework on how to actually address the root cause behind a client's symptoms and or diagnosis, whatever they're coming to you with. And so this is all personalized because again, everybody's body is so unique, and what's one person may require to heal their body is completely different from the next person. And maybe they have the same symptoms, but what's underneath it is different. So this root cause methodology walks them through a 4-phase process. The first step is called our root cause analysis. So the root cause analysis is where we actually grab up all of your data on what your body is trying to communicate to you. So again, we combine functional lab testing. Specifically, I like to run our complete root cause panel, which is our functional blood work panel. Very comprehensive, first place to start because it's going to give us insight on your gut health, your blood sugar regulation, inflammatory markers, nutrient deficiencies, liver dysfunction, kidney dysfunction, all the things. And then we also do symptom analysis. So that is the signal scan to identify root causes, and then also our nutritional assessment, which looks at nutrition and your lifestyle basically. So that combination is the first step for every single person because we need to know what your body's trying to communicate to you. Once we have that data, once we know your root causes and what's dysfunctional in your body, then we're able to really tailor the rest of the framework, which is step 2 is precision nutrition. So we really dive deep into what their body is asking for. Is it specific nutrients that we can get from the food we're eating? So a lot of people with thyroid issues, they are low in selenium and iodine. So I like to add in Brazil nuts and seaweed. Easiest thing you can do, right? And just start incorporating these small shifts and changes in your diet and can make a huge difference. On the other end, we do have individuals who need more of like the extreme support. Again, I meet clients where they're at. So if they're not comfortable with that, I'm not going to give them like a very strict diet. I'm going to meet them where they're at because I don't want to overwhelm you even more, add more stress. So again, for my client that I was just talking about, she really wanted to do a carnivore diet. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let's look into it. Let's see if this can actually be beneficial for you. Let's use your testing, your analysis that we just went through and see if this would actually benefit you. And so she did a carnivore reset for 30 days. And literally, like I said, it brought her thyroid antibodies back in optimal range and her insulin resistance was basically gone. Next, we go into the foundations of functional wellness. So this is basically 4 parts and every one is completely different. So some people, they need a nervous system reset. So we really just start focusing on shifting your body out of survival mode and shifting it back into really a healing state. And so that looks different per person, but I always just say, what do you love to do? What actually brings you joy? And start incorporating that into your day-to-day life. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 10 minutes, it can be morning, it can be night, wherever you have free time or make some free time to do the things that you love. That's going to support your nervous system so much. We also do cellular hydration. So this looks like just rebuilding your cells. So again, a lot of individuals come to me completely dehydrated, even if they're drinking a gallon of water a day. They're not adding minerals back into their water or electrolytes. So the cells aren't able to actually use that water. You're just peeing it all out. We also go a step deeper and we actually rebuild the cell membranes with specific supplements. So I really do like PC, which is by Body Bio. I love their PC. It's basically choline, and that's going to rebuild their cell membranes. It's going to help with detoxification. It really just preps the body on how to actually continue the healing process. We also do balancing blood sugar in this phase too. So if someone comes to me and they have like signs of insulin resistance, then I'm like, okay, we're going to focus on balancing your blood sugar. Again, this looks different per person. And then lastly, digestion and gut health. Huge for every single person. So again, this may seem like a lot, but most people fall within 1 or 2 of these areas. And there's specific supplements that can support all these different areas at the same time. And then the last phase is actually optimizing detoxification. So we go through a process of actually prepping the body before actively grabbing onto these environmental toxins, these hidden infections, and taking them out of the body. So again, this looks like just prepping your drainage pathways. So your liver, your kidneys, making sure you're using the restroom 1 to 2 times a day, making sure you're hydrated at a cellular level so you're able to get these toxins out of the body. So that's basically our 4-phase protocol that we walk every single client through. Again, this is a root cause framework, so it's personalized to the individual.
Amazing. Amazing. I love your process. It's very similar to what I do, but it's different. You know what I mean? I love it.
Yeah.
It's unique. Okay. So I know you touched on a little bit about your functional labs, but are there any like specific markers that you are looking for with your clients? I know that you work mainly with high achieving women. Is there something that you're like,
Mhm.
okay, we're waiting on seeing this cortisol pattern or,
Yeah.
your DHEA levels or something like that? Is there anything that you'd like to share with that?
Yeah, so with our complete root cause panel, it's very comprehensive. So we're looking at everything. But the most common pattern that I see with very high functioning women and just women in my practice are they're running on stress hormones. So again, that's going to impact your blood sugar. So we'll see high glucose levels, we'll see very high insulin levels, we'll see inflammatory markers very high. So your CRP, which is C-reactive proteins, very high. We have your segmentation rate, which is super, super high all the time. And then we also like to look at, again, other patterns pointing to the root causes. So I like to run a complete blood count, which is inside of that complete root cause panel. And we're looking at hidden toxins and infections, which will impact like your white blood cell count. So that will give me insight on if you have an acute infection or if you have a chronic infection, which most individuals who are high functioning, who are on the go, who are very, very fatigued and they have no idea why, it's probably because your body is dealing with a chronic infection that keeps getting reactivated due to the stress that you're experiencing. And so that is always connected. And I always do say that there's never just one root cause. There's multiple root causes that your body may be experiencing. And that is why you have so many different symptoms that fit gut health issues or that fit, adrenal stress or that fit skin issues. Like the body is so connected. And just because you're responding in different organ systems or just different areas, there's still a common root cause behind those. So that's pretty much what I like to look at, the inflammatory markers, your blood sugar levels, and then also why are they dysfunctional? Hidden toxins and
Yeah.
infections. And it comes out on your blood work, which is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Our bodies are very similar to a car.
hmm
So, for instance, we can put the oil, change the oil in the car, we can wash the car, we can put fuel in the car, but if we have no power steering fluid,
Yep.
it's going to work a little rusty. You know what I mean?
hmm
One element missing from the machine and the machine goes down, you know,
Yeah.
or it's not functioning properly. So we
Yep.
have to address every area of
hmm
health, not just one or two. And that's where people are messing up quite a bit. They're like, well, I'm eating organic. Well, I'm exercising. Well, I'm doing this. But are you addressing the toxic relationships in your life?
Yeah.
Are you suppressing your emotions? And that's a
Yep.
big part of why there's so many women that
hmm
experience autoimmune conditions is because we're stuffing down all of these emotions. We're being the nice girl, we're being the chill girl, we're being the person that, is doing everything for everybody but nothing for ourselves, and that will damage our systems. Like you said, for that individual and for most of the individuals that you work with, when we're running on stress hormones, it has a cascading effect on every other organ system in the body because it suppresses digestion. The enzymes aren't being released if we're in a chronically stressed state. It's kind of like a primal reaction there, and then our immune system goes down. And then when we interact with our environment, there's bacteria everywhere, there's
Yeah.
toxins everywhere. You can't avoid it. And when our defenses are down, well, then that allows pathogens to overtake. So it's something that, we need to educate our clients on a lot and make sure that they understand that, hey, you can take the best supplements in the world. You can have best workout routine, but it doesn't matter if you're not addressing the stress. It's a huge element that gets, obviously it's not addressed at all in the conventional space. But yeah, like they're like, are you drinking water? Are you managing your stress? And it's just like, this is where we come in as healers and health coaches, is like, we're asking the questions, we're getting on the calls. I don't know how long your check-in calls are, how frequent you do them, but I do them every 2 weeks and it's usually an hour long. And we're digging in. We're really trying to fully understand, what are the limitations to your healing? Why aren't we seeing progress right now? Why are we seeing a lot of progress? It's important to ask the questions, and that investigative work that we do is exactly what brings the results.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, especially going back to like we're little detectives. Like we actually want to help you really understand like okay, where are the blocks? Like what's really going on? And a big piece too that I've noticed recently that I have been really diving more into is the mindset piece, the nervous system piece, because there are women who are doing everything right. And it's like, okay, like what's really blocking you from healing? Sometimes there are deeper beliefs that they actually don't believe that this is going to work for them, especially if they have been screwed over by other holistic doctors, functional medicine doctors, our naturopathic doctors or even in the conventional space, you're told over and over again that your body is broken. There's really not much more you can do. So then there's like this deeper belief of like, I believe it on a surface level that I can heal, but deeper inside, you don't believe it. And so it's really about diving deeper into asking those deeper questions like, okay, well, where is this coming from? Like, is it because this is just how we're brought up in society where we're constantly told over and over again that our bodies are broken? How can we rewire that? How can we actually really step back and shift our identity to step into this next level? And it's really so powerful. It really is because, again, like when women come to me in that first session, they are rattled. Like they are speaking very, very fast. You can just tell that they are dealing with a lot on the outside where they have lots of anxiety. They're shaky when they're talking. They can't really explain how they're feeling. They just know something's not right. And then from the last session that we worked together, completely different people. Like their body language is calm. They feel at peace. They're talking like with confidence and slow. And like there's just like this shift in how they're showing up. And that really impacts everything they do. It helps them become a better leader and for, their jobs, for their careers, for their household. It helps them really reconnect with their relationships. Like it's not just about healing your body. It's really like becoming the person who is already healed. And so it's just so interesting. It's powerful.
Yeah, like leading with love and femininity and
Yeah.
not leaning so much, because that's a big problem that I
Mm-hmm.
definitely had. I spent 4 years in the Marine Corps and I came out of like a traumatic situation in my childhood and, always in a survival mode, being very masculine, being hyper independent. I don't need anybody. We all need someone. We all need
Yeah.
help. It's a fallacy that we tell ourselves. It's this, it's an awful thing to go through, and it's a very difficult thing to get out of without that support. So, just speaking to the listeners, if you are struggling with your nervous system, you feel dysregulated, you feel like you're a woman and you are in your masculine, get a coach. You do need help. You do need help. You don't need to work with, Jasmine or me, but find somebody that aligns with you and the right guidance. Because a lot of times when we are programmed that way, we think that we need to do it all ourselves. And that's just not the case. I didn't really truly see changes in myself until I started listening to those kinds of podcasts, until I got a coach, until I actually did that deep work and sat with myself and realized, okay, maybe it is okay to reach out and get help, you know? So that's important for us women. It's okay to ask for help. Yeah, it's key.
Yeah. I'm
So
like, yes, exactly.
yes, we don't have a lot more time left, but I do want to hear about, you mentioned you have a quiz and a symptom strategy call. So kind of dive into that and share with us where people can get access to that.
Yeah, so the root cause pattern quiz is really going to help you identify what your root causes are. Like what's your root cause pattern? Like is it due to burnout? Is it a gut driven issue? Is it due to your nervous system being out of whack? Like it really dives deep into what your body is trying to communicate to you. So that can be found on my website. So it's just organicallyglow.com/root cause pattern quiz. Or you can also connect with me on Instagram at organicallyglow, and all my information is there too. And then for the woman who is ready to take that next step to finally give herself permission to ask for help, because it's okay. We can have help, ladies. I have a free symptom strategy call, so you can always connect there with me and we dive deep into what your symptoms are trying to communicate to you and really give you that opportunity to take that next step to actually start your healing journey with a facilitator of healing. So if you guys are interested in that, again, you guys can find that at Organically Glow on Instagram or even on my website too, organicallyglow.com.
Amazing. I absolutely love this conversation. And honestly, I'd love to dive deep into another subject. Maybe we can do like a case study or something
Yeah.
together at a later time, because I feel like me and Jasmine were so aligned in our
Mm-hmm.
methodology and our belief systems. I think we can have another beautiful conversation. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on and conversating with me. And Yeah. Thanks for listening to the show, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
You don't need more wellness advice. What you're looking for are answers. If you're tired of wondering why you feel off, my one-time functional lab testing packages are your fast track to clarity. This is root cause insight without the long-term commitment. You'll get functional labs, a detailed breakdown of what's really going on, and a short-term protocol designed to bring immediate relief. It's not a transformation, it's a turning point. A way to stop guessing, start strategizing, and take grounded action right now. If you are craving clarity without the overwhelm, head to organicallyglow.com and book your testing package today. Because your symptoms aren't random, they are readable, and I'll help you decode them. If today's conversation shifted something inside of you, if it brought you clarity, relief, or a new way to see your health as a leadership tool, I'd love for you to share this with another powerhouse woman in your world. And remember, symptoms aren't the problem, they are the signal. When you start translating them, you stop surviving and you start leading with clarity. I'll see you next time inside Glow Social Hour.